Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Gone are the days of wrestling with our favorite LJN wrestling figures, trying to convince them to stand up. What's a guy to do? I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get on Etsy and look up 4 Left 3D Creations and get yourself these amazing custom LJN figure stands. There is a custom stand available for every single one of your LJN Wrestling Superstar figures. Make your display shine by grabbing these custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations today.
Hello, everybody. Jason up New Year's Cave. I was going to say Wednesday. It's not Wednesday. It's Monday. It's Monday. And it's LJN's Revisited. It's just that simple, folks. Big cut. Let me take two. Big turnout for the NUP all night. And lots of folks, above average amount, have watched the. You did the live show. We did that. That was great. And then above average amount of you have watched the actual NUP all night, where we went to 2:30 in the morning. We didn't go all night. And people have said, this is great. We love it. We love seeing you walk through the house. You know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that often. I am going to do that often. Saturday nights are my favorite nights because Sunday mornings are my favorite mornings. And I can sleep in on Sunday mornings before, the bowling league. So there's no reason really for me not to do a NUP all night every Saturday, dare I say. No commitment. Things will come up, but I'll tell you I'm going to do one this Saturday. So I don't know what we'll do. There won't be a sleepover, so there won't be kids up. It'll really just be me, which gives me more freedom upstairs to do whatever, food-wise or talk-wise or whatever. So thanks for that. 2 videos today. One, the LJN Revisited, and then apparently I've made 1,000 videos. So I'd like to just sit around and do a little thanks, a little talking about the channel and what it's meant over the years to me. And then maybe hear what it's meant over the years to you guys as well. So look for that right after you watch the LJN video. Let's take a look. We're talking about another manager, and I don't want to give it away. But before I tell you who it is, I will show you the custom LJN stand from my friends 4 Left 3D Creations on Etsy. That's right. Make your shelves look like mine. I'm telling you right now, this is not a sales pitch. This is my favorite part of my room now. Before, I always felt that the LJNs just didn't look the way they should. They were in front of each other. They were leaning up against the wall. And now they are complete. Now they have the separation. They have the space that they've always needed. And that is thanks to 4 Left 3D Creations on Etsy, the maker of these custom LJN stands. Get over to Etsy today. Get your collection, your display looking like mine. Well, I don't know if you've guessed, if you could figure out who it was, but we are now taking a closer look at Jimmy Hart, ladies and gentlemen, the mouth of the South. Here is the figure. Now, here is one of the Jimmy Hart figures. We've talked about variants. We've talked about, true variants versus just kind of a weird change in the tone of paint that people just get crazy about. But this, I think, is I guess, a legit variant. So we have Jimmy Hart with hearts on the megaphone, hearts in the middle of the megaphone, hearts on the side of the megaphone, and then we have Jimmy Hart with no hearts. Now, I don't know why stuff like this happens. I have no idea. I don't think in 1986 the LJN, team is sitting around the big board table going, look, people love variants. They love variants. Let's do a Jimmy Hart with hearts, a Jimmy Hart without hearts, and in 40 years from now, it's going to drive people nuts. Let's do it. I don't think they were doing that. I don't think so. So I don't know how this happens. In 2024, we have the ability to find out how this happened through Twitter and things like that. We have access to people. We could find out why something like this happened. But, I don't know if it was done on purpose. I don't know if it was done as like, look, we're gonna short pack these, we're gonna short ship them. It's gonna be great. People are gonna go nuts. I don't know why Seinfeld worked at the LJN factory, but that's just the voice I chose when talking about the LJN employee. There you go. What's the cleaner one? Looks like Jimmy Hart without hearts is the cleaner figure. Look, managers were huge in the WWF in the 80s. They were part of the deal. They were part of the character. They were part of the bad guy image. They were dastardly. They interfered in matches, and they were just a necessity. So, of course, they are part of the LJN line, and here is Jimmy Hart. Now, I absolutely used managers during my play, and it was really just as simple as the guy accompanying their protege to the ring, and then just, well, you can't see it, but just standing there. Just standing at ringside. That's it. Just standing. For the most part, they just stood. I didn't do anything with them. But of course, with managers, especially with bad guy managers, you have to interfere. So sure, Jimmy Hart would trip an opponent. Jimmy Hart would whack an opponent with his megaphone. But more times than not, Jimmy Hart would whack his own guy with the megaphone as the opponent ducked out of the way. You know how that kind of works. But I absolutely did use managers a great deal. Jimmy Hart has just entered the WWF in 85 as I'm watching Wrestling with the Past. He just entered. He's managing King Kong Bundy at this point. And, he hasn't quite evolved into the mouth of the South character yet. He's kind of subdued. He doesn't have the megaphone yet. There is no megaphone with Jimmy Hart. And Jimmy Hart, you've got to respect Jimmy Hart. He has stayed Jimmy Hart up until today. And Jimmy Hart is approaching 80, I think. He looks fantastic. He's connected to wrestling. Apparently, he is Hulk Hogan's legitimate manager, whatever that means. He's Hogan's manager. And he has, he's kept the same hairstyle. He's kept the same look. I mean, it's crazy how these guys just stay. And I think it's just wrestling, because think about it. Maybe not even actors, because actors change their look all the time. Wrestlers, maybe it's the kayfabe, maybe it's the whatever, the just working the gimmick the rest of, their entire life. Greg Valentine doesn't change his look. I even see wrestlers wearing literally the same outfits at every single appearance. And I don't mean like Honky Tonk Man's outfit. I mean, like Lex Luger wears the same Miami Hurricanes jersey everywhere he goes. Brutus Beefcake always has 17 different silver bracelets on. They always just look the same everywhere they go. But Jimmy Hart legitimately looks the same. Never met him. A million of opportunities too. He's always at places. We went to Florida. Obviously, we went to Orlando, and about 5 minutes from Orlando, or Universal Studios, is Hulk Hogan's Beach Shop, the Orlando version. I think Hogan is more prominent at his other location. But I didn't get a chance to go in Hogan's Beach Shop. But from what I've heard, sometimes Hogan and Jimmy Hart are just there, just kind of hanging out, charging, $300 for an autograph or whatever. But still, Jimmy Hart, absolutely used. I don't have a lot of great stories about Jimmy Hart as an LJN, but he's an important figure. He's an important part of the collection. He looks great. We're going to take a closer look at him now, and then we will move on. Next week, I keep saying tomorrow. Next week, it is the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat. We're going to take a look at Ricky Steamboat. Lots of stories about Ricky Steamboat. But right now, let's take a closer look at Jimmy, the Mouth of the South, Hart. All right, once again, let's take a look at that beautiful stand. And really, this is there's a shadow. What a nice job there. We've got Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, accompanying the musical notes here on the custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations. Go to Etsy today and display your LJN figures better than they ever have been before. Here he is, Jimmy Hart. Actually, let's focus on one of the Jimmy Harts. We'll get him out of the way. here we go. Let's take a look. Good face, not bad, right? Actually, I think this one, let me switch him out. This one's got some paint damage. Let's take a look at this Jimmy Hart. It's a little less paint damage. You can see a little bit more of the face. You know, it's fine. It's a fine likeness. They got the hair, that gigantic kind of weird puffy mullet, I don't know. Red sunglasses. He's got his Jimmy Hart beard. Pink tie, red shirt. White suit jacket with the black musical notes. He's got that pointing finger. Love that. Black pants, white shoes. The other hand is holding the megaphone. This one happens to be the variant megaphone, no hearts. No hearts at all on it. But as you can see, he's holding it there in his hand. It does not come out of his hand. Another accessory that does not come out, Mr. Fuji's hat and Jimmy Hart's megaphones are the two accessories so far that do not come out. Take a look at the back, if we can get him to stand. No detail on the back of the jacket. And if you remember, Jimmy Hart's jackets were always very detailed and very colorful, but they just decided not to do anything with the back of the jacket. Doesn't take away from the figure at all. And there he is. So there is Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart without megaphones. Now we'll take a quick look at the variant Jimmy Hart with megaphones. Absolutely identical figure. Nothing different about it. Nothing different about it at all, except for the hearts on the megaphone and the heart in the megaphone. That is the only difference. No explanation. I have no idea why. Now, this figure's a little dirty. I can clean him up with a magic eraser. I can. I just don't. I don't have a reason why I don't. I just don't. But there he is. Jimmy Hart, LJN Revisited, the Mouth of the South. Jimmy Hart. Next time, we will take a look at Ricky Steamboat. Until then, we will see you all next time. Good night now, says the Mouth of the South. Baby.